Vow 88.1. Good times, good music, for good.
For good. Today we have an esteemed guest on our Vow News exclusive. He is Professor Maurice Radebe, and he's head and director of the Wits Business School, and he brings over 3 decades of experience in the corporate sector, particularly in the energy industry, having previously served as an executive vice president of Sasol's energy business globally. He's an alumnus of the Wits Business School. He holds a master in business administration and a management advancement program qualification from this very institution. He's also obtained a higher diploma for education of adults from the University of Witwatersrand. As a seasoned leader, Professor Radebe has held various executive positions, including managing director of Sasol Oil. He's known for his very strong values, collaborative approach, and commitment to socio-economic transformation. Now, under his leadership, Wits Business School has achieved significant milestones, including receiving accreditation from the Association of the African Business School and ranking number 1 in executive education in South Africa. Today, he joins us to unpack all things leadership, MBAs, and the future of entrepreneurship in South Africa. Welcome, and thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much, Khanyisile. I like your name. It's bring some light here.
Oh, thank you, Prof.
Thank you for coming through here and putting me on the platform of Vow. I like Vow. It's a very good.
It's always good collaborating with you. Thank you. You studied applied mathematics and physics, and seeing how your career panned out, Prof, was this always the plan to be at the forefront of all things leadership, considering that you were a maths guru once upon a time?
Yeah. Life, you live it forwards, but you only understand it backwards. So at my age now, I can look back and say, wow, it looks like this whole thing was planned, but actually it was not. Yeah. When I was doing maths and physics and applied maths, initially my thinking was that I'm going to be a doctor. Okay. Like, when during our time, the career education was really very limited. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But after I finished that, I realized, well, no, that's not my passion. And so I started getting into business and leadership roles. And in that way, I always had a passion for academia. But I didn't want to go into academia first, early in my life. I wanted to first gain a lot of experience so that when I come and really teach in academia, I can teach something with real experience. Yes, with some experience. So it has panned out very well in that sense that I spend a lot of time in leadership, in management, in business, in startups and medium-sized businesses, and now I can come here at business school and not only speak theory, but also speak practice. Okay. So but what is clear that I had a vision to be a leader, particularly in my area of expertise, which was at that time running an oil and gas company. And I had that vision very early in my life. I remember joining one of the multinationals as a young person, and they took me to the head office, and I said, where's the office of the chairman here? They said it's on the 12th floor. Yes. And I just got into the lift and I pressed 12th floor. And then when I arrived there, it's very security is tight there. Yes. And they said, what do you want here? You're not allowed to be. I said, listen, I just want to see the office of the chair. And they thought I'm a little bit mad, and I insisted. Yes. And fortunately, the PA said, "Okay, all right." Go in there, and then I looked at it, and I just visualized in my head sitting on that chair, and that picture stayed in my mind, and so I visualized myself chairing a major oil company. And it did. It happened.
It happened.
So what I'm saying, as a young person, visualize what you want to be, and then becomes your North Star.
And you were a keynote speaker at the Wits Business School 2024 Nelson Mandela celebration, and that's when I got to hear you speak for the very first time. And you touched on how a teacher ignited your passion on just striving for more, because you mentioned that you were an average student, 50, 60, we're good to go, as long as I'm passing. And you basically spoke about how your teacher basically spoke life into you and made it known that you are more than capable of achieving what you have come to achieve. How important is it for accomplished leaders like yourself to instill a can-do mentality with the people that you lead, be it whether high schoolers, tertiary students, or the entrepreneurs that are under your leadership at this business school? And I ask this because people, like you've mentioned, the chairperson was someone that is out of reach. Tight security, and people who occupy positions like that, they're out of reach. We can't necessarily engage with them and have an experience and talk to them about how they got there. How important was it to have that push from your teacher, and most importantly, accessibility with the leaders that we are looking up to, whatever field we're pursuing?
First, I must pay tribute to Teacher Mangele and all the teachers that are really doing a great job in unleashing the potential of young children and the young adults and teenagers in particular. You know, when I grew up in Katlehong, classrooms of 120 students, and you know, getting my daughter score, you know. And then I think it was, now it's grades, and I always think in standards because, you know, I think it was grades 6 or 7 where I met this teacher who, in fact, I don't remember what he taught me, but all what he told me was, you can do better. Yes. You can do better. And I always liked to pat me on the shoulder and hug me and just say, listen, you know, the grades you got are not you. You can do even get better grades. You can be a top performance student. I didn't even aspire to be a top performance student before him. Yes. But he told me you can be a top student and a top performer. And just by being there, continuously giving me positive feedback, continuously challenging me, continuously telling me that there is a diamond inside you, it just needs to be polished, and then you can go places. And that is so critical. And that ignited me, you know, and that year I was one of the top 3 students, and the following year I was the top student. Okay. And ever since then, fortunately, just before I started my high school life, so from there in high school through an academic, through the tertiary education, always been in a student. But can you imagine if I didn't meet him? Yes. So the importance of teachers, coaches, mentors, people who are of authority, to really pay particular attention to young people and assure them that they can be more than they are. They're performing if they're performing at this level, you can actually stretch yourself and perform at the highest level. So it is critical. That's why I do it now all the time, and every time. I mean, I've got children now. There's 9 and 10. I make sure that when their grades come, I make it a very serious, official meeting. Okay. I say, no, when they give it to me, I say, no, wait. When I have time, I call them into my office. Right. And I say, okay, let's see. In this subject, and I make it very serious. We line by line. This subject you got 72. Can you set another target here and make it above 75? So, and obviously, we nervous at that time, and I said, do it. And I'm telling you, every term they are moving forward because we've set a very clear target. Yeah. And it's so important, and I do that here at business school. I always make sure that at an orientation time, I challenge all the students at the beginning. I says, "You're going to finish, yeah? Let's just be clear about that. And you're going to be a great leader when you finish here. How many of you believe they can run multinationals?" And they raise their hand. How many of you do you believe it? You know, and when you do that, you ignite something from in the heart and mind of a person. And that's because of Mangele. I'm really, really, really grateful, and I'm eternally grateful for his life, and that's why I'm doing it all the time.
Yeah, it also highlights the importance of paving it forward. The very favor and the grace that was afforded to you should extend it to the next person.
Oh, yes,
And I must say, you're doing an excellent job, Prof. Status released the latest unemployment figures not too long ago. I think we 3 weeks away from that announcement. Well, it's been 3 weeks since that announcement. And the figures are very alarming, especially amongst the youth aged 18 to 35. Given the current economic circumstances that we face as a country, how relevant is the School of Business in terms of remedying the current unemployment catastrophe that we're facing as a nation?
I agree with you. The unemployment rate in South Africa has reached crisis proportion. And we need very quick, decisive intervention that will really move the needle. Talking about business schools, particularly here at Wits Business School, we're very, very intentional about making our contribution. We've started a Center for Entrepreneurship. Okay. And the reason we started that Center for Entrepreneurship, because I strongly believe that entrepreneurs are the ones who are going to create jobs. You know, if you start a small business, I grew up in a small business, my grandfather started. He employed about 10 people. And that is so important, because one person in South Africa, when they works, he feeds at least about 6 people. When I say feed, I mean there's dependent. 6 people. So it's so important. So entrepreneurs are the people who are going to save us from this employment. We can't rely only on government. Government can create enabling. So what we are doing here is that we're training a lot of entrepreneurs, but not just training. We have now made sure that when they come into our program, they come with already a business idea, a tech-related business idea. And I'm now focusing on unemployment graduates in particular, because that is where our biggest problem is. Because these young people have had a hope of finishing a degree, and then now they're sitting at home in unemployment, they're depressed, they have mental issues. We have to make sure that and that talent is wasted. So they come in here, we give them a capacity building training program for 6 weeks, and then from there we develop their idea with them, incubate them, and then accelerate them, and then making sure that there's a funding for them to start their businesses. And hopefully, and I'm very, very hopeful, that some of them are going to create multi-billion rand companies. Particularly in the tech space in South Africa, we need to really we're creating a South African Silicon Valley. Yeah.
Most definitely. And Prof, when one thinks of obtaining a Master's of Business Administration, we are all frightened by the price tag that's accompanied by this qualification. And I say this because it's often met with hesitation, considering the fact that you have to fork out so much money, and especially if you're not sponsored. How then would you then justify the price and obtaining this qualification, knowing very well that sometimes, as you've mentioned, just utilizing this qualification it's a bit of a tricky thing, because you get to a corporation and you may just not necessarily be absorbed immediately with this MBA, because you may just be well above what is required to go about into that sector. So with obtaining an MBA and the price tag that's accompanied by it, how would you then justify it, considering what we are facing in terms of our economic and job crisis?
Well, let me tell you from my experience. You know, I was very involved in business. I would start up medium-sized businesses, but I reached a ceiling in terms of my growth in terms of business, and I came and did an MBA. The MBA has got capacity to expand your horizon, both in terms of understanding economics, marketing, operations, finance, and trends that are happening, so that when you leave here at the end of MBA, I left with a sense of confidence that I can conquer the world. Okay. That's the value of MBA. So the price tag is actually meant to actually making sure that when you leave here, and for the first time I stopped thinking about small business. I thought we can go and start a business. We can start an oil company. And people thought, oh, Radebe must have small petrol fumes now. How can you challenge the BPs and the shells of this world, you know? But because of the confidence that the MBA gives you, the return on investment is massive compared to the price that you pay. Okay. That's what happened to me. And I'm not the only one. There's many of my friends, colleagues who have done MBA. Some of them didn't start businesses. Some of them just went through the corporate ladder through that. But what is important is that when you've got an MBA, it's the beginning. Most of the people who actually don't make success when they wear an MBA is that they wear the MBA as a kind of a badge, you know, and they walk in with a sense of arrogance. And say, I'm an MBA, so you got into a place. They'll put you to size in a company, you know. They'll quickly put you where you belong. You need to know that MBA just gives you that confidence, but your curiosity, your hard work, your ability to problem solve is what will make you to rise through the corporation. And it'll make you to run a business and scale it and make it a business. That's why we were able to start Extra Petroleum together as a team, and which was one of the first very successful black-owned, black-controlled oil companies in South Africa. We sold it to Sasol Oil, so you wouldn't know it because you were probably young at that stage. Okay. But that what put me to Sasol Oil, to run this big machine called Sasol Oil. So the return on investments in an MBA, I would always say, it's far more than the price tag. Consider it as an investment, not as a cost. And the best investment you can make in your life as a young person is investing in yourself, in your skills. Get a skill, get capability, stretch yourself, stretch your brain. The muscle it needs to be exercised. And MBA just teaches you. One of the things that MBA teaches you is to be able to keep level balls in the air. Because we give you so much work to do, plus syndicate, so you got to work with other people. And then on top of that, you must do a research project so you gain the rigor of thinking problematically and systematically and be able to resolve problems. And those skills can be transferred to any field of endeavor. And that's why it's actually not expensive. It's an investment.
Yes.
Don't think of it as a cost.
Prof, you have accomplished quite a lot here at the Wits Business School ever since you stepped into office. I'd like to assume that retirement is quite far, because I would like to believe there's a whole lot to get done. But when you finally decide to call it a day and you pack up and you close your office and you say you've done what you've done over here, what would have been the greatest achievement that you would have wanted to leave here at the Wits Business School?
Yeah. Well, our vision is clear. Yes. To be the leading business school in Africa and rank amongst the best in the world. I always say my grandson or granddaughter, both of them, if they've got to choose whether they come to Wits Business School when they are young now, or to Harvard, it must be a toss of a coin. Are you with me? Yes. It must not because Harvard is better than us. Yes. Are you with me? They must be able to come here. And in terms of being a leading business school in the continent, we're already there. I'm humbled by the fact that I've just been elected the chairman of Association of Business Schools in Africa.
Congratulations.
Purely because of the work we've done here at WBS. And the whole continent is asking, come and help, let's lift out the whole continent now. Let's get the business schools throughout the whole continent rising up so that together we can make an impact in the whole continent. And my vision now for African business schools is that they must make impact
on a global scale.
On the global scale. And also in the social ills that we have in this continent, the poverty, the inequality, the unemployment, and also using our resources. I mean, we've got the richest continent on earth, and yet we've got lots and lots of poverty here. So I think business schools can play a serious role, and we can take our rightful place in all the structures of governance in the continent, from AU and the continental African continental free trade agreements, the economic regions that we have, whether it's SADC or West Africa or East Africa, all these structures, business schools should play a role. So in my role as a chairperson of African Association of Business Schools, we will do that.
Yes. And without giving away too much, what other remodeling can we expect under your leadership? Because you have taken the Wits Business School to great heights. You did say that many are seeking your counsel on how did you get it done, and most importantly, lifting them up to where you have managed to take Wits Business School. So what other remodeling can we expect under your leadership here at Wits Business School?
You can expect two areas that we're focusing on. We've just launched now the Mervyn King Center for Governance and Sustainability. And Mervyn King is an icon when it comes to governance. So we need to drive governance. This will be a mecca of governance.
Yes.
Teaching and learning. The second one, we've just launching a chair on AI. So we want to make sure that technologically prowess AI capability, not just to do ChatGPT, but to solve real problems of this nation and help us leapfrog in terms of our economic development and growth, will be here, will be driven from here at Wits Business School. So we are remodeling the school with centers that focuses on key areas. Another center that is already here, but we're lifting it up, Center for Energy.
Okay.
I mean, we're going through this energy transition. We're leading that path. And then finally, I mean, we have got a chair for digital and business training, which produces people who can take their companies throughout the whole digital transformation. So yeah, you're going to see quite a lot of exciting things coming out of Wits Business School in the next few years.
And with regards to Prof. Radebe, and I ask this because you have a foundation, Unleashing Leadership Potential Foundation South Africa. Apart from the Wits Business School, your foundation and your own endeavors, what can we look forward to in terms of your leadership and the influence that you have on young minds?
Well, ULP, which is Unleashing Leadership Potential, has been my purpose in life. And we started it 15 years ago, and we've done exciting stuff there in terms of really unlocking the leadership. Just briefly how it started in my house, by the way.
Okay.
And we started with 5 young people. And, we just shared my experience. At that time, I was the MD of Sasol Oil. But it grew, and then young people, came in our house. And by the time, there's about 50 of them in our house. And you know how young leaders, they started roaming around in their house and even to the kitchen and opening up the fridges. And then my wife said, no, let's be clear. This. So we ended up actually acquiring a property in President Park in Midrand, where now it's running there. And in the last 15 years, those young people that we mentored have grown and become so powerful in their own right. They're running companies. And now they're running the ELP. That's why I'm no longer day-to-day running the ELP. It's to give me time to be at business school. And the essence of what we are doing now, by the way, let me just finish it. The new leaders are actually decided that let's scale it up now, ELP. So they're using a lot of social media, technology. I mean, you go on YouTube now, just press www Unleashing Leadership Potential. You'll see so much leadership content there. And you'll be hearing from the greatest leaders in this country. In fact, there's a book now that we're writing. on the stories of whether it's Judy Lamini, Sipho Nkosi, Tunga Mtleko. They came on that platform and spoke. And that to me is now the second phase. So through YouTube, through all these technologies that are available, we're scaling it so that it reaches not only just us here in South Africa, but throughout the whole continent.
And just like that, our time has come to an end. Thank you so much for opening your office to us. It's been a lovely conversation. And I hope this is the first of many. So we will be knocking on this door quite a number of times. But once again, thank you so much for your time, Prof. And all the best with your endeavors. And most importantly, keep doing what you do here at the Wits Business School.
Thank you very much, Khanyisile. And VOW's potential needs to be raised now. I want to challenge you as well.
Okay.
All right? You have a good platform here, and I think you can scale it. And I want to set the target for you, whatever.
We're listening.
Whatever the number you have in terms of viewership, you must double it, okay?
Okay. And when are we hitting this target? What's the goalpost? Towards the end of the year or early next year?
I'll be generous to you. I'll give it at the end of 2026.
All right, no, that's fair. We can do that.
Okay.
Yes, Prof.
I know.
So we'll circle back and I'll show you the numbers.
Yeah. And I'll be there to support you, to cheer you, and I would also like you to participate actively. And I'll even give you the strategy. I'm leading. I'm the chairman of Josie Majosi, which is a very big initiative of trying to renew Johannesburg.
Yes.
I want to link you with them so that you can talk about it, but mobilize young people to get involved in community development programs through that. And that platform is going to just lift you up. So that's a strategy I'm going to give it to you.
Well, there you have it. What would be Wits Business School Conversations without a strategy at the end of our conversation? Ladies and gentlemen, that is Professor Maurice Radebe. Thank you once again, sir. And that brings us to the end of our exclusive with the leader and the head director of the Wits Business School, Maurice Radebe. I did say we'll circle back to the conversation. I have made it known that we'll be knocking on his door as he's given us a task. So we do have to come back to show you the numbers and to prove that we have indeed done our homework.
VOW 88.1. Good times, good music, for good.
For good.